Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Nemo and I will be doing one of the most requested videos, which is explain what is IP. So get to know IP with me. So IP is basically your international press, and international press is used in conferences of MUN, which is Model United Nations. If you don't know what MUN is, if you want to know more about it, then you can watch my video, which is Get to Know MUN with me. I'll put the link in the description box. You can check that video out. And if you already know, let's begin with international press. Now, press or the media is basically the eyes, right? Eyes for the public to know everything that is going on in the world, right? So it is also known as the fourth pillar of democracy. Now, media press could be for anything, any organization, for celebrities, for actors, for everything, right? But specifically, International Press Corps deals with the UN Secretariat and help the UN Secretariat, all the committees and commissions, to help spread out the word. Everything that is happening in the committees and the commissions, these journalists, we call them journalists specifically, they are required to show these things to the media. Now, there are a few things that they need to keep in mind when they're sharing this kind of information. They have to be, impartial. They have to show fairness. They have to show the truth, which is like the most important thing. They have to, be accountable for whatever they're posting. Posting is such a Gen Z word, but we don't use posting in like the journalism thing in IP. But there are few things that these people, that the journalists need to keep in mind. Now, the media, in IP, it could be obviously the journalists who write the things, who write reports and articles and blogs and everything. But there are also cameramen. There are also people who click pictures. Now, pictures are so important because they showcase the emotion of that exact moment. There are so many images, if you see online, of the UN related areas. You will find so many moments which has been captured right before something auspicious, or some right at the moment when something happen. So basically, their only work is to capture moments. And when you are in a IP for a MUN conference, you're in a competition. So there are two people who are there in a IP. So one is your journalists and one is your cameraman. So cameraman's roles and responsibility is only that you have to click good pictures. You need to capture the moments. You need to show the emotions. That's the only role. Coming back to journalists, coming back to the press's major responsibility is to keep a check on the government and its organizations. And how do they do that? Is through surveillance and by questioning. When you're a journalist, you come into the committees, you come into those conference halls, and you get to question them. You listen to them first to understand what is going on, and then I'll go into the process of how IP is done in the conferences, but I'm talking about the roles right now. So when you listen to them, when you understand what's going on, you get to ask them questions. These questions, you need to understand that journalists play a vital role. They are basically representing us. They're basically asking questions that the public wants to ask them, and it's the right of the people to know everything that is going on. And journalists, they bring out both the sides of everything. So it's really important that you understand the role of the journalists and the role of international press, because I've seen a lot of people, I've seen a lot of students not really giving the importance of IP, of journalists and cameraman, as they do to other committees, right, and other roles. So you need to understand that if you are going as a journalist, you hold the greatest responsibility on your shoulders, because you hold the responsibility of showing everything that happened in that in that room, in that 1 hour, 2 hour, to the entire world. That's your responsibility. Anything can happen. People can say anything they want to. All the delegates who were there, they can say anything that they want to, although they don't. But I'm talking about the competitions, right? Any delegate can say anything that, oh, this has happened. But it's the duty, it's the responsibility of the journalist who was sitting in that room to make a report that is fair, that is accurate, that is the truth, and show it to everyone that this is what happened. And I am telling the truth because I'm the journalist and the reporter. So I hope you understood the role, the responsibility, and the duty of a journalist and also of a cameraman. Let's get into the procedure, okay? So if you're a journalist and you are in an MUN conference, see, the most basic procedure is that, you go, you sit in that conference room and you listen to the delegates. You either write or record whatever they're saying, or do both the things, and then you make a report, you edit it out, and you submit it. That's what happens. But going on in a more detailed format, in a more detailed procedure, it depends from conference to conference. Now, when I went for my first IP, it was a very simple IP, good thing for me because it was my first time, so I was able to understand what IP is. So I'll tell you the most basic one. So what happens is that you're in a conference, okay, you applied for the IP position, right? So when you're filling the form out, you choose that you want to go for international press. And if they have the option for journalist, you pick journalist, and then they ask you your preferred committee that you want to sit in. So whatever committees that they have, let's say for example they have NATO, they have UN Women, they have UNHRC, UNICEF, okay, these many options that they have, and you chose that you want to sit in UNICEF, okay. So under international press, you want to be the journalist, you have chosen your committee, which is UNICEF, and you fill the form. That's it, okay. And when you get selected, they tell you your portfolio. So they tell you that, okay, you're going to sit in UNICEF because you chose that. It depends on the availability. So you get UNICEF, then they might provide you a guidebook for IP. So guidebooks or study guides, if you want to call it. So they're mostly prepared by the chairs, okay, because it depends from chair to chair what they want to give. So the guidebook or the study guide should have like the most basic things, the rules and regulations that the chair or the OG, which is the organizing committee, OC organizing committee wants you to follow, okay. So once you've read all the guidelines, the rules and regulations that either the OC or the chair wants you to follow, you simply go and sit at your allotted committee room. So what happens is basically that in a room, all the members, delegate members, they're sitting, and either at the side or behind all the journalists, they sit, and what they do is that they listen. Now it's beneficial that whatever the topic has been selected, whatever the theme is for that committee, it's good that you prepare a bit beforehand and get to know about the stances of a few of the major members, and then you go, you sit, you listen, you write what is important, what you think is important that you can write in your report. And it depends on how many sessions they have. So the number could be anything, okay. The chair is supposed to brief you what they want from you and how you're supposed to do it. You do that, you're sitting in the session and you're writing, you're either recording as well. And then what happens is that during the session your chair would come and they would observe you, how you're doing, okay, everything. After that, once you have done your writing, at the last there's a thing called the press conference. I hope you all are aware what a press conference is. It's basically like a bunch of people sitting in front of you who are important, and a group of journalists, they're sitting in front of them and they get to ask them questions one by one. So that's what happens. You get to ask questions to whichever delegate you want to. It's on the chair. They give you a number of questions that you can ask to whichever delegate you want to, and then you ask the questions, and whatever they respond, you write that down as well. And those questions are really important, and these questions are based on the previous sessions that happened. You get an idea, ki, okay, this delegate has said this, but it does not go with their foreign policies, and they might lie about something, they might mix match something. So you need to be very careful and listen carefully, okay? So you ask them the questions, you write them down, and at the last you write a report, a final report, okay? And I will put the screenshot of my report that made me win. Okay, this is the screenshot. Okay, you can see it here, and the study guides might provide you with the format as well, a sample, or either your chair can provide you with a sample. The chair does everything. You can ask them how it's supposed to be. The chairs are mostly nice, okay? It's their responsibility to, make you understand how it's supposed to be. And then, yeah, you just give a title and write the report. That's it. You write the report and you submit it, and then it's on the chair. They read it, they go through it, they compare it with other journalists, and that's how the most basic IP, the most basic journalism is done in an MUN conference. Moving on to a little tougher one. Now, there are different writing styles in journalism, and I will be talking about a few. Before that, there are also different types of perspectives. Perspectives as in, how the report could be. It could be biased writing, it could be an unbiased writing, it could be neutral, it could be opinion based, and it could also be interpreted, and so on, right? So it depends on what your chair has asked you to write on. It also depends on what portfolio you have been given. So remember the three things. You are an IP, you are as a journalist going there, and you have chosen the committee, right? There could also be another thing, which is your another aspect, which depends again on conference to conference if they've kept that thing. The fourth thing is basically the news, the media publication or the media house that has been given to you. There are different types of media houses, right? If taking Indian media, for example, we have the Hindustan Times, we have, what do we have? We have the Times of India, we have the Hindu, we have Dainik Jagran, and so on. All these media houses or newspaper publications, they all have a writing style, okay? When you dive into it, you need to understand what their perspective is. What is their perspective that they use? So I know about Hindustan Times that they use a neutral type of writing, which is they just show what it is. They don't add their own personal opinions, they don't do interpretations of anything. Whereas there are few other publications and few other media houses which are not Indian, foreign media houses, they have different types of writing. So whatever media house you get, you need to search on that media house is what is their perspective of writing. How do they write? Is it opinion based? Do they do their own interpretations? Such like, okay? So now moving on to the categories or the types of journalism. First is the news reporting. So news reporting is basically showing whatever is going to happen. An event is going to happen, there's a conference, and whatever is going to happen in that conference, you just mention that. There's no interpretations, no opinions, no nothing. You just write as it is what is going to happen. That's a very basic type of thing. Coming to the second type of report, which is the beat report. So beat report is a specialized form of news journalism that involves in-depth coverage of a specific area or beat. So basically what it says is that, if in a conference, there's going to be a special event, okay? There's going to be a workshop. And in that workshop, a lot of, big shot people are going to come, and they're going to teach us, whatever they want to teach. So beat report is basically you only talk about that workshop. So you say that, in this conference, this workshop has happened, and you only write about that workshop, whatever happened in that workshop, and not about the other committees that were going on simultaneously, because it happens. Okay, so beat reports, it's basically specific type of reports. You only write about a specific thing or event or whatever is happening. Okay, then the third type is the review journalism. So it combines elements of fact-based reporting with the inclusion of the reporter's own perspective and opinions. So it's clear like that. So you are in a committee, okay, delegates are speaking, so you write what they have said as it is, and you also write your own opinions. So if the delegate of China says that the delegate of China wants to join NATO, you have wrote that thing as it is because the delegate of China has said that, so that is neutral. Then in the next line you write that it's a very loser move. It's just my opinion, okay? You write that thing. So I would elaborate that, obviously, that that is a very loser move for China to say that. How are they going to compare or be manageable? Because if you're aware, China's mindset is different than the members who are present in NATO. So I would write something like that and give my opinion. Okay, so that is what is review journalism. It is where you write what is happening and you give your own opinions, basically. Then we have the press conference. Press conference can either happen at the end of all the sessions or it can even happen in between. It depends. Okay, but it happens basically wherein all the delegates are there, and you are sitting in front of them and you ask them questions. Okay, and you need to ask them questions which would like shake them up. But anyways, you should ask questions which would be mind-boggling. Okay, so you could ask China that you have said this, that you want to join NATO. How is that even possible? How will your policies, your mindset align with that of the other members? And do you think it will be that easy for you to join? What will happen to China? So you ask something like that, okay? Then coming on to feature articles. So feature articles is basically, it encourages informal and engaging submissions that can add a unique and enjoyable dimension to the press experience. So this basically means that, I think I did this type of report. I'm sweating. Yeah, because I'm sitting with no AC, no fan. Okay. So it is basically a miscellaneous type of report. You basically write it and to kind of make it more fun to read, but keeping the essence there. Okay, you never forget the essence. You need to make it fun to read. What I did was, in my report, is that the title of my report was a bit funny. Okay, I don't remember the title, but it was a bit funny, and I remember that I added 2-3 lines in my report which was kind of funny as in you make it informal a bit. That's it. Lastly, we have the investigative journalism. Delegates conduct research during the conference, which may involve re-questioning speeches or interviews from fellow delegates. So what happens is that in investigative journalism, which I think I did as well, but it would be in personal interview. So what happens is that you are seeing, you're observing all the delegates, and then in the recess, in the break, you get to do personal interviews. You get to ask them questions which you cannot ask during the interview. So just to take an opinion, you ask them the question that you can't ask in the session, because you have to be like silent in the session. You're not allowed to speak unless you are asked to. So in investigative one is basically that could be related to this. It's like if I'm a delegate and I'm China and I said that comment, and because you're in a session, you cannot ask that thing right there. You ask them later. You probably ask other delegates about their opinion on this statement, and you basically try to investigate on that matter, and you write a little report on that. That's what happens. So these were the few types of journalism that I have discussed. There are even more. You can always Google them up, or it depends on the, again, the conference which you're going. And it's actually the responsibility of the committee as in the organizing committee to tell you what that type of journalism is. It's their responsibility to tell you how you are supposed to write. Basically, they define that type of journalism, and they also give you a sample. That's when you know that you're in a good competition, that you're in a good conference, when they tell you everything. Because it's very common that there would be a lot of newcomers, and IP is one of the growing, for me, I believe that IP is one of the growing committee in the MEN conference. So yeah, that was it. That was basically what international press is. Let me give you a quick summary. So basically, IP, which is international press, is your press, your media, and it is supposed to keep a check on the government and its organizations and other institutions, and tell the media the truth. Okay, there could be various perspectives of writing, which could be your neutral, biased, unbiased, op-ed, which is opinion based, or interpreted. Okay, there are different types of writings. The few that we did were beat reports, we did miscellaneous report, investigative report, press conference, and so on, right? And yeah, you are supposed to write, you're supposed to listen, and you're supposed to use your brain in IP. Okay, so if it's your first time, this much explanation is fine. Once you yourself go and attend and see yourself how it happens, you'll be good to go. Okay, now coming to few tips for the first timers or not, but few tips from me that I think that all the journalists should know before they go for any IP conference. First one would be to do a little research on the background that has been given to you. So remember UNICEF. So you have chosen UNICEF, and let's say, for example, the topic for UNICEF is education in rural areas. Okay, let's take that example. So that is your theme for UNICEF, and you have been allotted as a journalist there. So you do a little research on what that topic actually means. Okay, what are the countries that are coming? You may or may not know the delegates that are coming, but you can probably think of the delegates who might be there, because let me tell you, China is always there. There's always UK or US, France, Japan. These are few countries who are always there. Okay, so you can do a little research on them. You can do research on the ratios. You can compare, like what are the top lowest rural areas where education is a problem. So you do your own research. Okay, it will help you to understand, and it would make sense to you what the delegates are talking in the session. And it also helps you to understand which delegate have not done their work, have not done their homework, who have not done their research. Because I did not know that you should do your own research, but I was like, I should get familiar with what the topic is, what the theme is. So I did my own little research, and I went, and I was able to tell that there were like 2-3 delegates who were not saying what they were supposed to, because it didn't make any sense. Even though I did not really study about their countries, but whatever they were saying, it just did not make any sense. So because I had done my own research, I was able to understand that they're not speaking sense. So do your own research before you go. Second thing, when you're in the session, when you're sitting there, please keep your eyes, please keep your ears open. Okay, please try to understand whatever they are saying. I know it could be really difficult, because obviously they're speaking in a very fast motion, like 2-3 delegates would speak together, and you're like, whom should I listen to? But just try to. Okay, and I'm not saying that you should write everything that every delegate is saying. No, Only write those things which you think could be used to write report. Only write those things which you think, oh, that's a really nice statement. You write that thing. That then you're like, oh, this delegate might be lying, or you feel like that maybe it's not matching their own policies. So you write that down so that later in the recess you can recheck that, and if they made a mistake, bingo, you can write that in your report. Okay, or maybe you can ask that during the press conference. Third thing is that a lot of students like to record, okay, via their phone, what is happening in the session. I didn't do that because it was not feasible for me. Okay, I was like not paying attention because I was like, oh, I'm recording from my phone, so why should I listen? So if you feel comfortable enough, it's on you if you want to record or not. So you can either do both the things, but it's up to you. Okay. Fourth thing would be personal interview. Even if your chair told you or not, I think you should do personal interviews. You should talk to delegates during the recess time and ask for the permission that I want to do a personal interview. Can I do that? And so you can either record at that time, you can either write, you ask them a few questions, and what happens is that it shows sincerity. It shows that you are not here only to win, you're also here to learn. Okay, so I did that as well. I interviewed I think 3-4 delegates, and I also wrote that in my report. So it shows sincerity. Okay, so that's what you do. So it's like basically doing a little extra. Okay, you're putting a little extra effort. And lastly would be, let me think, writing. So if you're a first timer, you also don't know how to write reports and this and that, I would suggest that you go through a few articles, go through newspapers and see how those people write. Okay, I'm not saying that you will be a perfectionist in your first time, but just read. Okay, before your conference, if you are having like 10-15 days, you just read articles, newspapers. Okay, and if you've given any portfolio, any news or media agency that you've been given, read their articles and see how they write and try to write like that. Okay, and yeah, that would be it. So the 5 tips. So first is that you do your own little research before the conference, helps to keep you stay ahead. Second thing is to keep your ears open and try to interpret and understand whatever whosoever is saying. Third thing is recording, which is optional. Recording via your phone, okay, might give you an extra source which you can probably use later. Fourth thing is putting a little extra efforts. I explained that I did personal interview and I added that into my report. So if you feel that there are a few things extra that you could do that. Okay, and lastly, it is your writing skills. If you're not a writer, you are to read articles, newspapers, and try to be thorough with it. Okay, so that was all about IP, international press. Now moving on to the second part of this video, which is answering your questions. I don't know why I look weird. God, so hot. Okay, so let's dive into the second part of this vlog, which is answering your questions. So I will be first answering questions from my Malaysia vlog, which is my first MUN ever. I have a few questions there. First one is, can you make a detailed video on this specific MUN, please? Thanks. Okay, so it's already a pretty detailed vlog about the whole journey, but maybe you're asking for the process of this specific MUN. MUN that I attended here was the AYI MUN, which stands for Asia Youth International Model United Nations. I will put all their Instagram accounts in the description box. You need to follow them. Second, they keep on posting a lot. They're pretty active, and they do about 2 to 3 MUNs offline in countries like South Korea, Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia. So you can check it out wherever you want to go. Okay, so you see the post, then you register. And when you register, they ask for your personal details, and then they ask for an essay. So you write a small essay on why do you want to go. I don't remember what's the question, but like they ask you to write a small essay. Then you wait for 2 to 3 days, and then they send you an email. So if you're selected, most of you will be selected, so that's not a big deal, honestly. So you get selected, and then they send you a lot of materials. So they will add you in a WhatsApp group, I believe, and then they wait for the payment. So they have like, I think, 2 to 3 different packages, so you choose from there, and then whichever suits you. Once you're done with the payment, then there's an overflow of resources and materials, and then they pretty much guide you. They add you in your specific group. They send you a lot of emails, so you go through all the emails, you do your research. They send you like videos and guidelines and links and a lot of things. So if you're a first timer, it is like super great. They send you everything. I think they even do 1 or 2 sessions, online sessions, to like teach the first timers how everything is done, and it's great. AYIMUN is just, they are very systematic, they're very organized. They give you every detail that you need for probably visa, your travel, and because I stayed in Malaysia, so the hotel that I was living in, if you check the vlog, it's amazing. Like the standard is amazing. So yeah, that was the procedure. I'll put the accounts and you can like follow them and keep a track. Okay, next question is also pretty much same, which says, please make a detailed video on MUN and how much did it cost you. Okay, it's a big comment, so let's just break it down. So I don't think I need to make a detailed video on this specific MUN, because I feel like it's very easy. You just follow the accounts. Rest, it's easy, you do it on your own. How much did it cost you? So for me, my package was around 60k in Indian rupees. You can calculate that. Okay, so 60k, I had to pay 60k for the package, which included my meals and my stay and all the resources, and they give you a lifetime of resources, and then tour is also included in it. So they give you a tour of the place as well. So we went to like 3 or 4 places, and 60k was for the package, and then I spent 30k for flight, so it was like around 90k, the total cost of the whole trip, and it was for 5 days. So it was good, it was really nice. Then when do they provide you the topic for you to prepare on? Once you're done with your payment, once you fill in all the details about what country you want. Topic? See, you have to fill a form. In that same form, you have to fill everything, like what country you want and what committee you want to go into. And I think the topic is already written there. So once you're done with the payment, they send you like, okay, you are in, and you can start with the preparations, and they start sending you all the resource materials. So you just start it. Basically, you already have the topic. They already list you the topic on their account, Instagram account, for everyone to see. Okay, I wanted to attend MUN last year but thought it was only for those in college, but as I saw in the website, I am eligible for it, so soon make a detailed video on it. Oh god, so many of you want a detailed video, but honestly there's nothing to be really explained in it. Honestly, you just fill the form and rest you do it on your own. Next question. I have some queries, like I don't have a Facebook ID, so can I give my parents? Yes, and you can even leave it blank, because I also don't have a Facebook ID, so I didn't fill anything. I left it blank. I only have an Instagram account, so I just put that. And did you self-funded your MUN or was it sponsored? What was the procedure like? Self-funded. Why would anyone fund me then? It was my first MUN. I had no clue, so why would anyone put their money on me at that time? Now I can still like think about it, like anyone sponsoring me. Then Please make a real video. Oh my god. No. Next, constantly. Okay, that's a compliment. Okay. Could you make a video about MUN tips? I have already made that video. Okay, I'll put the link in the description for all the MUN tips, wherein I explain what is MUN and get to know MUN with me. Okay, I'll put the link in the description. Hi, can you provide all the information about the procedure of selection at, again, the same question, and is it good for a beginner to go for it, and did they charge you for it? So basically, is it good for beginners? No. For me, according to me, if you're a beginner, if you don't know what MUN is, don't go. Because, you know, I would, according to me, if I had known what MUN is, I would have given my everything and I would have won. But because I didn't know what MUN is, I went there and I was so confused. Even though I tried to, you know, do my best, but I was confused. And it felt like I wasted money. But at the same time, I did not feel that way, because, I mean, that was an experience that I will never forget. So I would suggest that you do an online MUN first. AYI MUN also does online MUNs, and I have done 2 already, and I've won in that. So I would suggest that you also follow their account, which is, I think, AYI MUN VC. I'll put the account again in the description. You can follow them and you can participate in their this online MUN and get to know what actually MUN is and how, you know, it's done. So once you're aware about how MUN works, you can definitely go for this one, the offline one. And I think they have an online MUN on the 21st and 22nd June, so you can still register for that. If I find the link of the registration of that online MUN, I'll put the link in the description as well for you. And I might also participate in that, but I'm not sure. But let's see. Then, did they charge you for hotel food extra? Obviously they did. But it's a good thing that they charge you for everything. You don't have to worry about anything. And the food was great. Oh my god. The travel was great. Oh my god. And you know, they give you every single facility. Like, they pick you up from your airport as well, and they drop you as well. No tension. What was the total price for AYI MUN? So basically, as I said, AYI MUN does offline MUNs around, you know, different countries, and it depends. Like, South Korea one is a bit more expensive, I guess. The Malaysia one was pretty cheap. Then Philippines, Vietnam was also pretty cheap. So yeah, it depends. Okay, next. Hi, I have passed the selection of 16th AYI MUN. That was like, what? Yeah, it's been a lot of time. I'm still considering whether I need to pay this $599 for an experience. Honestly speaking, I'm very interested, but before making payment, I need to know why and what makes it worth $500. What I learned at there really worth it. So if you've seen my vlog, obviously, then you're only writing this. I think I've also replied to this person. I said to him that you've already watched my vlog. What do you think? Is it worth it or not? The hotel is great. The food is awesome. You meet so many people. You do great networking. Then, you know, you never really go empty-handed. Even though I didn't win anything, I did not go empty-handed. After that first MUN, I have done 4 more MUNs till yet, and I've won in every single one of them. You get to learn a lot of things. You meet a lot of people, you see their accounts, you see them, and you get to learn from those people as well. So you never go empty-handed. And definitely it was worth the $599. Okay, so then there are just 2 more comments on IP, which I've already discussed and I've already answered your questions. And rest of the comments want more MUN content. Spoiler alert, there's going to be a very new point of view for me related to MUN coming next month, and I'm so excited to share that journey with you guys. and if you can guess what it is, what should I give you? Like, if anybody guesses it right, like what the vlog would be, just let me know, what I can do. Okay, so that was it. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys got to learn. If there are any more questions, you leave your new doubts and questions in the comment box. I'll answer them, and you can probably just ask me for new MUN content, what it could be, and let's see if I do any online MUN. My most favorite online MUN is the AYI MUN, and let's see if I do it or not, because I feel like that there should be a vlog for an online MUN as well, for you guys to basically understand. Let me know.